I have two older yard machine mowers. They each have Briggs and Stratton 500 series engines, 5 horsepower engines. The one on the right, the black one, will run. The red one will not. Suspecting an ignition problem, the first thing I did with the red one was check for spark. So on the red mower, I have the bail handle or the kill switch, whatever you want to call this. I have it clamped down. And I have the handle clamped down because after I remove the spark plug and then plug it back into the boot, in order to see if I have a spark at the tip, I'm going to have to hold the plug against the engine to ground it out. And with the plug here in the front, if I was back at the handle pulling the cord, I wouldn't be able to see the plug to see if we had a spark. So now holding onto the plug by the rubber boot and having it grounded against the engine, I'm going to pull the pull cord and we're looking for a spark right here at the tip. And we got nothing, no spark at all. Now I'm going to do the same test on the other yard machine, the one that's running. All right, doing everything the same way. Again, we're looking for a spark right at the tip. And you can see a little bit of a spark. That's a good way to test it. The red one's just not working right. So now knowing we have no spark, we want to check out the ignition coil, which is located underneath this cover. And there are 3 bolts that hold that on, 3 3/8" bolts, 1 in the front and 1 on either side in the back. Now that cover will lift straight off. And here is the ignition coil. And now to test the ignition coil using a multimeter. I have my multimeter set to 20,000 ohms. I'm going to take the red lead and put it inside the spark plug's boot, being sure that it's making good contact with the metal inside of there. The other lead I'm going to put on the ignition coil, make sure that has good contact. And we are getting no reading at all. Let me double check to make sure there's a good connection. And once again, we have no reading at all on the multimeter. So this ignition coil is dead. Let's check the one on the other mower just by comparison. And do it the same way with the red lead inside the boot and the black lead on the coil. And we have 4.75, which translates to 4,750 ohms, which is an acceptable reading. Anything between 2,500 and 5,000 from what I've read signifies a good coil. Now to be 100% sure that the coil is my problem, I'm going to take the coil off the black mower that runs. These are 1/4" bolts, and there'll be a wire underneath that we have to disconnect. That wire runs around to the kill switch. So we will put this on the red mower. So we plug in the wire underneath. I'll get the bolts started, but I won't tighten them all the way down because we need to set a gap between the ignition coil and the flywheel. And usually a gap about the thickness of a business card, or in this case a recipe card, that works. So I'm going to pull the coil away from the flywheel a little bit, slide that card in between the two. And now there's a magnetized section on the side of the flywheel. I just have to find that. And when I do, you'll see the coil being pulled in. There it went right there. Now this side over here will pop in next. Just like that. Now I can tighten the bolts down. Pull the card out. Sometimes if you turn the flywheel at the same time, that makes that easier. There we go. Now we have the proper gap between the ignition coil and the flywheel. Snap on the plug. Put the cover back on with the pull cord assembly. So now the red mower's running, but the black one's not because I stole the ignition coil. However, I had a 4 horsepower Briggs parts engine and I stole the ignition coil off of that. This one tested as being good. So I'm going to put this on the black mower and we should be in good shape. All right, this should fire up. Both mowers are back running good, and it was an easy fix, a free fix as it turns out, because I had that parts engine I could pull from which had a good coil on it. And I'll put a link up here in the top left to the original video from a month or so ago showing how I took the gas tank off, carburetor, cleaned it all out, replaced the diaphragm and gasket, and got this mower running because it was in bad shape when I got it. And now coil went bad, but we got it fixed. So hope this helps. Thanks for watching.